Hello friends, hope you're well. Techman Pat here. Today we're going to be reviewing these two mice. Yes, the Logitech G502 and G305. I have to look at the names because you know what? It's always G something, there's always a number. The lucky thing that I have in my case is that I have a lot of other Logitech mice that we can compare it to. I am reviewing both of these at once because I think you need to understand where these fit in, and it'd be nicer to put it all in one video, and we've got a bunch of other Logitech mice to also compare. So first of all, let's roll the intro. Alright, let's talk about the G305 first. First of all, it is light speed, which means it will connect very quickly to your computer. I absolutely love the colors here, and it comes in black, blue, lilac, and white. It's absolutely an interesting mice, and one thing you'll notice is, where do you charge it? Well, this one comes with a AA battery that you can chuck in here and also store your little USB dongle. That is the main difference between this $79 mouse and this one out here, which starts at 99 Australian dollars. We'll get to that in a moment. This mouse is a lot louder when you click. Let's have a listen. It is also a little bit lighter. It is for what I would call the gamers that like to play a lot of MOBAs. Because of the way it's structured and the way you can hold it in your hand, it feels very comfortable when moving around on a large screen and moving quickly and clicking a lot. But I would say that the clicking is rather loud. Of course, the speed that it can reach is very high. You have a 1000 refresh rate in regards to the connection. It is light speed, which is fantastic, and a maximum of 12,000 DPI with 6 reprogrammable buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, of course. The controls that you get with the software from Logitech is absolutely brilliant. You can of course turn the mouse off with a switch, and it has 4 feet at the bottom and an extra little foot there just so it doesn't get the pressure from your hand. I have found it to be very smooth on here, but I've also had to increase the DPI compared to the other mice to match. Every single one of my Logitech mice is at 1200 DPI, but this one I had to go to 1300 because I felt like it wasn't catching up in regards to the speed to the other ones. It could be because it's a little bit smaller and maybe a bit harder to move or maybe too light, but I have increased it and it is something to note. And on the other side we have the G502, also a wireless gaming mouse with the light speed. This one does come with the Hero sensor, which can hit 16K in DPI. It starts at around $99. But unfortunately I think the price has risen to $109 in Australia. I've seen it for a lot more too in certain shops. It looks like a spaceship, it plays like a spaceship, it is very comfortable in the hand. I found myself using this one for shooters. This was the preferred method to play shooting games. I did, however, because of my very fat hands, have to disable the buttons here. These buttons kept getting clicked when I had my thumb on it, so something to note. It also has this DPI slowdown button. It's like your targeting button. I actually found myself using this. I've never used a button like this before, but when you have it at 1200 DPI, it reduces it by a fairly significant percentage. When you press this, as you can see, it lights up, and that means your mouse suddenly goes a lot slower, but as soon as you let go, it stops. It's great for sniping in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and of course, any other shooting game. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 programmable, 7, 8, 9 programmable buttons, or 10, whatever it is, and it has very nice rubber grommets on the side. Now, I've had a similar looking mice like this that was wired before, and it had this little flap here at the bottom. Previously, the flap had a much bigger lip, and if you press down with your thumb too much, it would actually pop it off. In this case, they've reduced that lip. They must have heard the feedback from somewhere. And to pop this back panel off, it's actually a little bit more difficult. On the bottom, we have space for weights. It is a weighted mouse. You can add quite a bit of weights in here, and of course you can also charge it off a pad like this. This is the induction charging Logitech pad that you can buy. I think it's $150 to $200, but you get a couple of nice mouse pads with it. You will need a disc like this, it does come with it, and you'll need a compatible mouse like this that has the little disc like so. And when you do pop it on, you can place it on here and it will automatically charge, and you'll never have to worry about recharging it. It of course has the charging port right here at the top, and overall I think this was my favorite mouse for shooting. And let's compare it to the other ones because I have a lot to say about this mouse compared to the other Logitech mice we have. This is the G900, the original Lightspeed, the first of the first This one was my staple for over 2 years. I absolutely loved this mouse. I removed all the buttons from both sides. It's ambidextrous and it has some really nice features. It's wireless, the battery doesn't last that long now, but as you can see, it has no disc like this one. It is one of the first. The G903 does have a disc, so you can buy that one if you like the shape of this one. But this one feels very similarly to this one in regards to the shape, but of course it doesn't have that thumb rest. And for me, these two mice are the ones I would suggest to anyone who plays first-person shooter game. Now on the Dota side, this is the mouse I would go for, and it is also the mouse I would suggest anyone get if they're actually using it on a laptop. It's much easier to use, there's no chance for you to recharge it, and that just means you get a AA battery. It's pretty much available around the world if you get to travel. It is much smaller and easier to get around, and it works really well. Now, the one that I've been using for a long time is the Logitech Pro. This is what I moved on from this one here, and I have one button useful here for knifing in first-person shooter games, and of course it has a USB plug right here, and it has a lot less actual feet than the other ones, but it does have the little disc so you can recharge it and so on. What I would suggest comparably to these is you can play MOBA games with this mouse right here really well. But where it does shine is first-person shooters. Again, this mouse is the smoothest, most non-spaceship looking mouse, as you can see, and it does cost a lot. At nearly $250, it's not necessarily something people buy all the time. Now, how does this compare to using any of these new ones here? If you're only ever going to be doing shooters and you don't need the mouse to be particularly light, then go for this mouse. I actually prefer a much heavier mouse, and I found this one quite hard to get used to. This mouse right here is my favorite out of all the mice, and to be honest, I just put this one to the side and I have been using this one continuously throughout the 2 weeks. What I would suggest is this is your travel and MOBA mouse, and for general use around the computer if you're just working, this is your gaming only mouse. Because of the way you have to sit with your hand on top, it is particularly different to the way you would sit with this mouse. This one is much more comfortable for longer sessions. So, a couple of other things I want to talk about. Let's talk about the sound compared to all these actual mice and how loud they are. Let's test that out really quickly. Is very loud. If you like the clickiness, I actually think it's okay. There is no button to change the speed of the scroll wheel compared to these ones here where you can have a bit of a feedback, then you can switch it off. Let's talk a little bit more about gaming, because this is where the mice shine. Flick shots with this mouse are absolutely fantastic and they feel very weighted, especially in CSGO. I found myself again going to this mice for shooting and for this mouse for everyday use. Now, when playing a MOBA mouse, because this is so light and there's so much clickiness to it, and you have to click all the time, right click, left click, and so on, what I would do is start up Heroes of the Storm, try every mouse throughout the 30-minute game, but I would always find myself going back to this mice for it. It's light, it's easy to move, the hand is relaxed on it, and the precision is enough for Dota games. This is a much more precise mouse. That is why it's a best mouse for first-person shooters, and I found myself holding it a lot tighter, and I actually felt my muscles were a little bit more used up after a gaming session. This is probably the best of both worlds. It's both a light mouse and it is both accurate and feels great in the hand, and that is why it is the Pro, but that is also why it's priced the way it is. Because of the weight of the mouse, this one has a lot less feet and glides very smoothly. This one, on the other hand, has that weight to it, and you can add more weight even with the spots in here, but it does have much bigger feet. Hence, it is much more accurate because there's more connection to the pad here, and you can feel every single movement is very smooth and accurate. I found this one to be really accurate. That's not to say this one isn't, but it didn't feel accurate in my hand because the feedback from the mat wasn't enough to help me control my shots and my movements. Friends, thank you very much for watching. I hope you figured out which mice you might need. Of course, I have linked the Amazon links below for you to have a look at, and Logitech's link. Big thanks to Logitech for sending these two mice for review. I have absolutely loved using this one for the shooter, as I mentioned, and the Dota gameplay on this has been fun. Actually, Heroes of the Storm was probably more fun with this one, but Dota played out too well. It was just a very long game. Nonetheless, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like this video if you did, and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. And if you'd like to support us, you can press the join button below. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all in another one. Bye!